because we look at everything through the lens of the Bible. I take the headlines of the day and deal with them from a Christian worldview. Let me tell you the real story behind Senator Barack Hussein Obama and his church. Unfortunately, all of the talking heads on TV have been playing amateur theologian, and they've totally missed this story. They've totally missed the point of this story. Having started my ministry nearly 20 years ago in Chicago, I'm all too familiar with the Trinity United Church of Christ, that liberal church that was headed for over 3 decades by Dr. Jeremiah Wright. And I told my Liveprayer internet audience and my TV audience over a year ago about this man. That's why it was so humorous when he became such a top news story. But here's the bottom line. This is not a story of faith. It's a story of politics. You've got to understand, when Senator Obama started his political career on the south side of Chicago, he was part of the daily political machine. It became politically expedient for him to be part of Trinity United Church of Christ. The black church plays a very active role in the politics of the black community. So for a young man with a Muslim background, it was very politically expedient for him to be part of one of the top churches in the city of Chicago. And as radical as Dr. Jeremiah Wright's black liberation theology is, Barack Hussein Obama became part of that church not because of spiritual reasons, but because of political reasons. And what was a political asset to him has now become a political liability. Also, his affiliation with Reverend Meeks at the Salem Baptist Church, same thing. Reverend Meeks is part of the Illinois State Senate. And again, a lot of people are part of that church because it's a politically expedient move. So understand, the story of Barack Hussein Obama and his church isn't really about spiritual issues. It's about a political issue. Now, former New York Governor Oprah Spitzer, you know the story behind this sad saga? It's a story of what the Bible talks about, how our secret sins will find us out. The Bible talks about what you do in the darkness will be shown in the light. You may think you're doing something in secret, but you've got to understand, God sees everything. And former Governor Spitzer really became a great example of what the Bible talks about, how our secret sins will be shown in the light of day. I think a very sad side story to that whole sordid affair is Ashley Alexander Dupree, the young girl he was most recently with when this whole thing broke. 22-year-old, high-priced call girl. And the real sad part of that story is that this nation is so spiritually bankrupt that we've not only glamorized, but we've actually rewarded a young lady for basically being a common prostitute. We've glorified and we've rewarded whoredom, and that's how spiritually bankrupt this nation really is. Oklahoma State Representative Sally Kern was in the news recently for some comments on homosexuality. Let me read them real quick. She said, the homosexual agenda is destroying this nation. Okay, it's just a fact. Studies show no society that has totally embraced homosexuality has lasted, more than a few decades. So it's the death knell in the country. I honestly think it's the biggest threat that our nation has, even more than terrorism or Islam, which I think is a big threat. All I can say to Representative Kern's comments is, amen. She's 100% right. I've warned people for years that the homosexual agenda in this nation, they're striving to make homosexuality mainstream, was going to be a major issue in this country, because if you look back through history, no society that has embraced this deviant sin has ever lasted very long. And I hate to tell you, but because Christians have been asleep, kept their mouths shut, been intimidated into silence, homosexuality is now a mainstream accepted lifestyle. So even though Representative Kern has been lambasted by the media and by people like Ellen DeGeneres, who, by the way, let me just say this. I know Ellen was challenging Representative Kern, and I know Representative Kern didn't want to take the heat. If Ellen DeGeneres is watching tonight, my name is Bill Keller. I'm a reverend, even though I don't use the title. Nearly 20 years in the ministry. I'd be happy to come on your program and debate you and tell you why homosexuality is not only a sin, but it's a destructive sin, both for society and the person who's involved in it, because my ministry deals with hundreds of men and women every day who are in this bondage. So, Ellen, if you're listening, email me at bkeller@liveprayer.com. Be more than happy to come on your program. But you see, Ellen doesn't have the guts to bring somebody on like myself who has the ability to stand toe-to-toe with her. She's looking for someone who's weak and is afraid to speak up. It's a shame. But trust me, Ellen, if you really have the guts you say you have, email me, and I'll be on your show or anywhere you want, in the middle of the street somewhere, and we'll talk about this. Lastly, I want to talk about why Oprah Winfrey is the most dangerous woman in the world. I was recently on Neil Cavuto's show on the Fox News Channel talking about that very issue, why Oprah Winfrey is the most dangerous woman. Let me tell you, as long as she was doing her entertainment show, that was fine. But now she's gone off and she's morphed herself into this spiritual guru. And she claims to be a Christian, yet she is selling the equivalent of spiritual crack, these New Age teachings which are leading millions of people literally to the depths of hell. You see, my friend, there's only one truth. That truth is found in this book. This is the Bible. Not in this book, one of these New Age masterpieces that Oprah is now pimping and promoting. This latest one is called New Earth, Awakening Your Life's Purpose by Eckhart Tolle. I'm going to show you what needs to be done to this book in a second. But let me just say this. Oprah, the first of the year, started by promoting The Secret, which is just a New Age regurgitation of philosophies that have been around for thousands of years, have been slickly marketed and repackaged, and millions of people got involved in this whole issue of, if I just think about it hard enough, it will happen. You know, Oprah has never been shy about bringing every kind of New Age false religion cult on her program, like Scientology and Madonna's Kabbalah nonsense. But now she's cashing in millions of dollars marketing the spiritual crack, these New Age philosophies, The Secret. Then most recently on her XM satellite program, she began marketing a year-long study in the Course of Miracles, which is another New Age teaching. And most recently, she's doing a 10-week Monday night webcast on Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. Well, let me tell you something. There's only one thing that should happen to this book, and you're seeing it right now. It needs to go up in flames, because that is exactly where this book belongs, burning in the trash can. Because let me tell you something. This is exactly what's happening to people who are reading this book. Their souls are literally burning up because of these lies. You know, my friend, the reason I speak out against Oprah isn't because I hate Oprah. It's because this woman is leading people away from the truth of the Bible, the only truth there is. She's leading people away from faith in Jesus Christ with all of these false Jesuses. And she's selling the New Age lie from hell that basically says there's many roads to God. Well, listen, God gave us free will. You can believe whatever you want.